Israeli School, Universal Practical Knowledge, the Philadelphia Division, here at 3226 Cheltenham Avenue in Philadelphia. We're standing in front of the school right now, getting a description of the 12 tribe sign that's been painted by one of the brothers that was in the school: Judah, Benjamin, Levi, Simeon, Zebulun, Ephraim, Manasseh, Gad, Reuben, Naphtali, Asher, Issachar. Those are the 12 tribes of Israel.
Shalom. Shalom. You've been waiting for this day, so this day has finally come. A lot of you have been wondering where this knowledge that you've been hearing is coming from, and the powerful truth that you've been hearing, how this was established. Well, we finally were able to arrange for the priests to come down from New York and spend some time with us. And I'd like to introduce them if I can. These are some great brothers. We're very glad to have them with us. We want to make them feel as warm as possible, because this is their work and the extension of their work and what they've laid down some time ago. I'd like to introduce, first of all, priest and Sixth Shield General, 4th in command in the nation of Israel, Lahab. I'd like to salute this brother. Macho. Barak. Yeshabim, which means sit. And I'm going to turn it over now to Priest General Lahab.
Water, brother. I'd like to say this, starting off, we're very impressed at your school here, and we're very impressed to see that the brothers and sisters in Philadelphia think enough of the Most High and the Bible and the truth and your nationality to be a part of this, because most of the brothers and sisters are running from the truth.
All right, Shalom, Israel. About to get started. All right, Shalom, Yahweh Shem Yahshua Brakatham to the brothers. Yahweh Shemal Atham Bashim Yahshua all the sisters. I'm Priest and Officer Sherry Wan and the Commanding General Yohana. We are the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge, started at a 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York. Okay. My ISUPK, we're a school for Blacks, Hispanics, and Indigenous. All right, we're a school that was established to heal, specifically to heal Blacks, Hispanics, and Indigenous. Okay? Not just heal, but be a safe place where Blacks, Hispanics, and Indigenous could come, they could learn, they could gather together, get some good food, drink. All right? Any problems you have, whether it be you need help finding a job, you need help getting through school, all right, help getting employment, right, prison expungement programs, we got all of that in the ISUPK, okay? We are here specifically to help our people. Shout out to the chat. We got Carolyn Radsville and Sister Kalaya Kwar, Yahweh Shemar Athar by Shemar Shah. Okay, so water for tuning in. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. All right. I also got with me the big priest, mighty priest of 500, Ahabawan, Officer 500 Ahabawan, joining us, getting it in like we do every Monday. Yep, Shem Shabakta, what's going on? Right.
Let's get it.
So this class specifically, Monday night history class, um, we are teaching history to our people, and it's so important. I was speaking to a brother out of Montreal just yesterday about this, and my eldest son, he came home from school, and for the first time, he was learning about slavery, black slavery, inside the elementary school. And when he came home, he's telling me about it. I said, "What did you learn specifically about history?" And he said, "I learned that white people freed us from slavery." I said, what else did you learn?" And he said, "That's it." And I was like, "God damn." So the first thing you're going to teach a black man or a black child about his history is that the white man is his savior. And that's such a sick twist, such a demented twist to do to a child, such an innocent child who doesn't know anything, to teach him, such a tainted viewpoint on history. And had he not had a father like myself, who's in the ISUPK, he wouldn't receive that proper education that we learn. He would grow up and he would, repeat things like slavery was in the past. White people freed us from slavery. Slavery is over. That happened hundreds of years ago. That's what they brainwash our children to believe. And so this history class, like General Muhammad taught me, this history class, we have the ability to teach history to our people from our lens, from our viewpoint. You know what I mean? They always say history is told by the nation that have conquered. You know what I mean? I'm paraphrasing. Get me right on that, Ahabawan.
Yeah, it's his story. So it's taught by the conquerors.
Right. You know what I mean?
Their own story.
God. And that's exactly what you're going to learn. You're going to learn his story, the European man's story, when you grow up in his school systems, his empire, and you're going to miss so much of our history. You know what I mean? You come to this class, you'll learn about, Ahabawan, he'll break down all the amazing inventions of the Black, Hispanic, and Indigenous man. You know what I mean? Right down to inventing beer, inventing the traffic light. You know what I mean? Inventing the refrigerator. You know what I mean?
If I may, sir, what's ironic is that the first science project I remember doing was based on the traffic light. Right? And, I'm like, the whole time, I was what, about 10, 11. I'm thinking, the white man invented everything.
Right.
My parents was Christian. So, white man, good white Jesus. The white man invent everything.
Yep.
Everything. So, but when I started to do my research on it, that's when, back in the day when you had to go to the library and actually pick up a book instead of just going online and using it. I found out, like, dang, a brother invented it. And that made me want to do that science project more. Just because the brother invented the traffic light.
God, yeah, that's such a heavy point. You know what I mean? And I believe, just as you did, as it made you want to learn more about your history. Things like that is what led me to the ISUPK. You know what I mean? Because I'll hear a brother bring out some history that I never heard before. I'll bring out a brother, bring out some facts or some truth about my people in such an uplifting way that we don't hear about.
Yes, sir.
You know what I mean? The black man is by far the number one species on earth beaten down, taught that he's less than, that he's no good, he's too aggressive, he speaks too loud, he walks too manly. You can't do anything in this empire without being brought down as a black man. And so to get in a place where, you know, we actually see, start learning about the masculinity of a black man and how that can be used to defend and protect your people, you start to say, wait a minute, maybe it's okay for me to be, you know, this aggressive. It's okay for me to be this manly.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this isn't toxic if I use it, for good. And so we come in this school and we get re-educated. You know what I mean? It's something that's so important for us. So as we do every Monday, when we get into this history, this topic tonight, I'd never heard of the Black Code.
If I may, sir, if you don't mind, if I can
Yeah.
get a little, right. And before we get into this black code, I just want to read this one scripture, sir. This is Ephesians 6:12. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities and powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. So we're not wrestling against, think about it. We're not going out, we don't have to go out and fight and beat people up and kick them in the face and nothing like that, right? Think about what's going on. These black codes were these principalities and these powers that were above us, right? These were the codes that was holding us back. These were the codes that was telling black women that they man can't be in the house for them to get welfare. These was the red lines that you see. That's why you can't get cheap insurance in Detroit. Too many niggas stay there, right? These were those things where you had certain schools that they were closing down because they were performing well.
Right.
These type of black codes, bankruptcy laws, where you got to have a certain amount of money in your pocket, or you can considered a vagrant and they arrest you. You only did that to us, right? Stop and frisk. Think about it. They only did that to us, blacks, Native Americans, Hispanics. These black codes don't just, this is not just for the black man. This is for the Native American man, Hispanic man. We all under that black code. But I digress.
Yeah, and what's interesting, one of the things that caught my interest on this is, Frederick Douglass also spoke on these black codes, and he's one of the things that stood out to me was, how Europeans, I'll say the wealthy Europeans, they integrated the poor Europeans to work side by side with the black man. And they, almost from the beginning, they said, well, the poor white man working beside the now quote unquote free black man, he still has to have some of his dignity. And what we're gonna do is, treat him just a little bit better than the freed black man. That way, they don't lose their morality, because they still need to feel like they're better than the slave. Even though they're free now and we're working together, there's still a difference. Mm-hmm. And one of the things specifically that they did was basically they gave the poor white man a better wage than the now freed. And Frederick Douglass said this is, a clever way to still, have a class system for the working slaves. Mm-hmm. And when I was reading through it, I'm like, damn, that's still how they do it till this day.
Yeah.
And it's like that wage gap that we see today. You would have thought that because slavery was abolished, that it would be decreasing over the years. But here we are, what, 150 years, quote unquote, removed from chattel slavery.
After rebrandishing.
Yeah. And the wage gap has increased.
Mm-hmm.
So what does that tell you? That the freed slave and the poor white man, he's still better in his society.
Mm-hmm.
He's still treated better in his society. And both of these individuals, they'll never be on the same page as the rich white man, which is what this society was created for. And the Bible speaks about it. The 666 being the mark of the beast. And that number is a set of ruling class amongst the Europeans, amongst that beast, amongst Babylon. And that rich, those people that are in power, they have never lost their seat. Mm-hmm. And they found a way to keep themselves on the top of society, you know, whether slavery was abolished or not. Frederick Douglass called it, forget the words he used. He was clever something, but it was a clever way for the rich man, you know, to keep his seat. And so it's like, again, this black code, it has such a deep root. Like, you know, they call it systemic oppression.
Yep.
It's like that black code is like it's like a systemic foundation to how this society is run today. And so what we called the black code back in 1800s, going all the way back in the 1600s, it's like they can remove the name black code, but it still exists till this day.
Yes, sir.
And so we're gonna get into some articles, some videos. Lord allow, 2 hours is enough. We'll try to break down the whole thing, but this is a very what's it called? Informative topic.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? That all Blacks, Hispanics, and Indigenous should learn about. Slovakia. Let me start off. I got a video I'll share. Let me share my screen. Just breaking down, kind of giving an introduction to what this black code is.
In November of 1865, the government that Andrew Johnson had set up in Mississippi passed a set of oppressive laws that applied only to African Americans. Soon, other Southern states followed suit. These laws became known as the Black Codes.
The basic purpose of the Black Codes was to recognize that slavery has been abolished, but to make sure that there is as little change from.
Look at that.
Yeah, I wanted to pause there. Go ahead, Arbon. You want to say something?
Yeah, I say she said that it's set up to recognize that slavery was abolished, but there's little change. Remember earlier I said it's just rebranded.
Okay.
It just rebranded, and people like, well, we ain't getting our backs whooped no more. You not getting your back whipped. You know what I'm saying? We got brothers. We see brothers and sisters die every day from the people that's supposed to protect them, the so-called police.
Mm-hmm.
Right? These brothers and sisters are getting, you know, they neck laid on by the police, unalived.
Yeah.
You had a brother who was just walking away from the police, and they shot him in the back because he walked away from police officers. You know, you got brothers like you got kids playing in playgrounds or in parks, and the police just roll up and kill him.
Mm-hmm.
Don't that sound like a drive-by?
Yeah.
Right? You know, Tamir Rice was sitting in Chicago. Was it Chicago? I believe it was Chicago.
Tamir Rice. That wasn't Cleveland?
Was it Cleveland? I'm not sure. It was either Chicago or Cleveland. But he was sitting in the park playing like a little 12-year-old boy do. He's playing. The police did a drive-by on him. They rolled up and they shot him.
Yeah.
Don't that sound like some of the so-called gang stuff they say our Hispanic brothers and our Black brothers and our Native American brothers doing?
Yeah.
Right? They ran up on him and shot him. Breonna Taylor was laying in her bed in the house, and they shot her house up. Don't that sound like gang violence?
Yeah.
They shot her house up. So you got to understand this. We know who the real gangster is, right? And the Black codes, what they did was it allowed these gangsters to do their gang banging and have nothing to come against them. It was Cleveland.
Yep. Yeah, like, and again, that's why I say that this history class is so important, because I remember you breaking down Ahabawan, you know, how like the foundation to, you know, policing inside of America.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Going back to the slave patrols and who they are today. And again, it's like the foundation of all these things, how they started, it was so crooked as hell. And without this education, you might think that it's actually different than what it was 200 years ago. When you learn about the slave patrols and you start looking at what's happening today, you're like, wait a minute, what is the difference? You know what I mean? They're hunting down our people the same way they did back then. And it's like, I couldn't confidently say to anybody that getting a bullet to the head is better than being hung by a noose. And what's the difference? You know what I mean? Either way, you're losing your life. And with all the cameras and technology there is today, you telling me that George Floyd wasn't a public display for the whole world to see?
Every single one of them are.
And you look up what happened in those lynch mobs. They went and they wanted to set an example, you know what I mean, or send a message to the Black community as to why you should, you know, behave a certain way. I think that one brother you were just talking about who walked away and got shot in the back, what does the whole world say? He should have complied. He should have just did what he was told. And isn't that what the lynch mobs were for?
To make you comply.
You know what I mean? Yo, you black people need to comply. We're sending a message to the world to show you what's going to happen to somebody who gets out of line. And George Floyd, he shouldn't have been on drugs, George Floyd. You know what I mean? That's what they say about him. You should have been handed over that your ID. Go ahead, Abor.
And you know what's I'm not gonna say ironic because it happens to us all the time. You know why the police went after George Floyd? Because the manager of the store he went into accused him of having a counterfeit $20 bill.
Imagine that.
And come to find out, the $20 bills are real. The 20. So George Floyd told the police officer, you know, you're on my neck. Think about it. George Floyd was complying. He was laying on the ground.
Yeah.
He was complying, and he was telling him, "I can't breathe." He wasn't fighting that officer. Look. George Floyd is it was a basketball player that he resembles.
Oh yeah, he was somebody's cousin, I think.
Cousin or something, and it was like 6'8". He was a big guy. So that officer didn't bring him down. Because he wasn't complying. He brought him down because he was bigger than him.
Yeah.
You got this big 6'8" brother standing over you, right? And you want to accuse him of having a faulty $20 bill when he's taking pictures with millionaires. That's his cousin. Right? You know, he's taking pictures with millionaires. This is his cousin. And him and his cousin look so much alike. Right? And they kind of favor one another. You know, I'm surprised George Floyd wasn't in the NBA too. but he was a big guy.
Yeah.
And so when the officer got him to comply, that's how he got him on the ground. Because if George Floyd would have been fighting that officer, it'd have been way more officers there.
Salaki, is that me cutting up? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, sir. But then, you know, you got to understand this slavery has been rebranded, right? That's why you got these black codes, and these black codes are used to be able to come up into your house whenever they want to. Is there the black codes is for them to be able to it was a black code saying that black people couldn't have dogs.
Yeah.
Do you know why black people couldn't have dogs? What do dogs do? Dogs alert when strangers are around, right? So it's a black code preventing black people from having dogs, because now the Klan can't sneak up on your ass.
Right.
The dogs get the barking, and guess what? The dogs get the barking, then the guns get the yelling. So black people couldn't have dogs.
Yeah. Yeah, that's one of the many codes that they had for us. You know what I mean? And it's Commanding General Yohana, you know, he uses a word that I love to use because it makes so much sense to me. You know what I mean? Like, these people, when you study the behavior of an abuser. What do they call it? A classical abuser or textbook abuser.
Stockholm syndrome. When you start the level,
yeah,
it's called Stockholm syndrome.
God, and you know, you'll see the way these people have treated us. You know, it's so textbook to what an abuser looks like. And these black codes, you go through every single one of them. That's textbook abuse. You know what I mean? Like, you try to I forget. There's one there's a saying they have for abusers when, you know, you're the abused and you want to stand up and defend yourself, and the abuser looks at you like you're crazy, and you know, how dare you fight back?
It's diplophilia or something like that. Hold on.
Yeah, it's something like that. And it's like, you know, the idea of a black man walking around with a dog, he should be walking around with a dog because he's been abused for hundreds of years. He had to watch his wife be sexually assaulted by a slave master. And then he's just put out in society to say, okay, here you go. We're going to make some codes so that you can, you know, now integrate into society.
If I may, sir.
Yeah, go ahead.
Drapetomania.
Yeah.
This hypothesis was based on the belief that slavery was such an improvement upon the lives of slaves that only those suffering from some type of mental illness wanted to escape.
Yeah, there you go. That's what I'm looking for.
I got you back.
God, come on. You know what I mean? Like only a sane person would want to walk around with 50 dogs surrounding them. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You see how the police officers have, what was that?
Even homeless people have dogs.
Right. Yeah. Yep.
Homeless people, you ain't got no home, but you got a dog.
Yep.
You know why they keep that dog? That dog gonna bark when somebody come around and they ain't supposed to be around.
That's right. They fall asleep somewhere in the alley, that dog will start barking. Mm-hmm. You know, it'll alert them and wake them up.
Yes, sir.
It's a sensible thing to do. And our oppressor was such an evil bastard. He set a code saying you can't have this. You know what I mean? And not only not have this, but Habawan, the penalties that they put on blacks for, you know, having the dogs, or you know, having too many black people grouped in an area. You couldn't be out past a certain time. You know what I mean? The vagrant laws, God forbid you don't
sundown times.
Yeah, like you getting ready to get hung if you don't abide by these codes.
If I may, sir,
Go ahead.
what you got to understand is that it was only one punishment for us, death.
Okay.
There's only one punishment for us. If we broke any of these black codes, right? Even when you, as a black man, even when you follow the law, right? You get unalived. As a black woman, as a Native American man and woman, you know, even when you follow the law, you get unalived,
Yep.
right? Was Tamir Rice not following the law? Was what was the guy named in Florida, the young man in Florida who was unalived by Zimmerman?
Trayvon Martin.
Trayvon Martin. Was Trayvon Martin not following the law? He was following the law, right? So understand is that not because we broke the law, it was death. It was because we followed the law. It was a death penalty. It would just depend on how gracious and how merciful the white man wanted to be to you.
Yep.
He might have just wanted to break your legs. What was the brother that was running? He was running, jogging or something like that. Amir Arbery, was that his name? He was jogging.
Yep.
He was jogging, right? And they got, what did they do? Jumped in the back of a pickup truck, right? One driving, two in the back of the pickup truck, right? With their shotguns and they pistols, and they rolled up and hunted him down like old slave code days, like the slave patrol.
Yep.
These Karens, slave patrol. You can't. They just had a brother. He was out bird watching, and I ended up looking at his page. He's a animate bird watcher in Central Park. Remember that?
God.
He's a bird watcher. He's watching birds, and this Karen say he's trying to attack her.
Yeah, I remember.
Right,
that.
Choking the hell out of that dog though.
Yeah.
He was choking the hell out of that dog, but I don't know. It's a good thing that brother videoed that, because
yeah,
when the Slave Patrol got there, they would have unalived him.
Yep.
They would have unalived him. Rosewood was set off by what? Of the lies of that
she-devil.
That beautiful white she-devil.
Good, nice. Right. That's a movie. Shout out to the movies. You probably remember that one. Griffith, Eddie Griffith or something like that.
Eddie Griffith. What
Eddie,
about it?
He had that movie with that she-devil in it.
You got to tell me what it's about. Man, there's a bunch of movies with she-devils in it.
Man, I'm gonna find that movie.
Fatal Attraction had a she-devil in it. Like,
shoot, I'm gonna bring that one up later. But yeah, like what you're saying is so heavy, and one of the things that came to mind was, and I'm gonna bring up the article as soon as this video is done, because you would think that like we were getting unalived for a good reason, and like these black codes, going back to the black codes in the French colonies, like we getting unalived just for not being Roman Catholics. You know what I mean? They had laws where if you didn't convert to being Roman Catholic, I think you had 1 week, Ahabawan. 1 week. If your black ass got dropped off in Martinique, or one of the French colonies in the Caribbean islands, if you didn't convert in 1 week to Roman Catholicism, you were put to death.
Was that during the Crusades?
This would be after the Crusades, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah, but I'll get into the timelines. We'll get into that after this video. I'm gonna keep going on this.
Come.
Slavery to freedom as possible. Slavery has been abolished, but to make sure that there is as little change from slavery to freedom as possible.
The key to the black codes was what they called vagrancy laws, things like that. Every adult black person was required to sign a labor contract for the year with a white employer. If they didn't do that, they would be considered a vagrant, and they could be fined. And if they couldn't pay the fine, they could be auctioned off to someone who would pay the fine, and then they'd have to work off the fine for that person.
Hold on. What was that, sir?
Yeah.
So
I thought we were free, though.
I thought we was free, right? Slavery's abolished. You see how she said it, right?
Right.
I thought we was free, right? But look what happens. If you didn't have a contract with a white employer, right? You were considered a vagrant, right? Hold on. So that our people know, hey Siri, define vagrant. So a vagrant is a person without a settled home or regular work who wanders from place to place and lives by begging.
And you know, man, these classes are so important to get into. Like everybody you ask is gonna tell you slavery was abolished. They're gonna tell you that it was over, it's done. But nobody's gonna tell you about vagrant laws. Meaning you had to sign a contract. And if you didn't sign this contract, or if you broke this contract, you had penalties. And this contract was forcing you to work. I thought you were free. Like, you know what I mean? Like, this was not your, like, what is it, 1865, they love to say?
Mm-hmm.
I believe is a number, 1865, they love to tell you slavery was abolished. But did they tell you in 1866 that you had to sign a contract that forced you to work?
Hey, sir, can I help you out a little bit?
Go ahead.
The 13th Amendment to the United States Constitution, ratified on December 6th of 1865, abolished slavery and involuntary servitude throughout the nation, except as a punishment for a convicted crime.
And guess what a misdemeanor is, Abawan?
A crime.
Which would be you don't go to work for a day. Imagine you go a week without working, Abawan. You are now a criminal.
For real, you miss a week of work for work. Like we go down to the Passover every year, and you know usually you got to miss a week worth of work, right? So you know not only are you spending all that money to get down there, but yet still you gotta grind when you get back. Right. So you grinding when you get back. So this is you know we have a good time down there, but brothers make some they make some cuts in their lives to get down there.
Yeah.
Right. They made some cuts to get to the Passover. You know, you got to dial back on a certain thing, you know, have 1 or 2 less drinks a day. Like, right. And the thing about it, right. Let me get back on subject. Think about this. The 13th Amendment, right, abolished slavery, except where? Except if you were punished, except for punishment by a crime, right? Yeah. And then they make these black codes. So it's against the law to be black. So you already, look, born as a black man, Native American man, Hispanic man, you born with a strike.
Salaki, this point right here, I gotta share something. I'm gonna come right back to this video.
Please.
Because I need people to understand this. Okay, I'm gonna share my screen and I'm gonna read something about these vagrancy laws so that you know our people can better understand what we're saying. Like this isn't just like when I say if you took a day off work, and now you're a criminal. Like you just brought out in that 13th Amendment.
Mm-hmm.
You're now back to slavery.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna read an example. This was something from Tennessee. Okay. We'll get right back to this video. Let me see where it is. Here we go, right here. Okay. This is an example of how these vagrancy laws affected us. Okay. This is by a freed man. Okay. So this is a man in Tennessee who now has his freedom. But that 13th Amendment is in effect. And these vagrancy laws are in effect. It says, this is in July 18th, 1866.
So look, this is 6 months after slavery was so-called abolished.
Damn,
6 months. You can't get a year. A nigga can't get a year.
God damn, I'm glad you said that. This is what our freedom looked like. All right. It says, before me personally appeared the undersigned Archie Payne, who being duly sworn deposis as follows. So he's so he's signing this contract, right? That we just heard about in the video. He says, my name is Archie Payne. I've been living with Andrew Stewart in Shelby County in the state of Tennessee. I made a contract with the said Stewart about the 15th of February last.
How far is that from slavery being abolished? That's 2 months.
Good night. He says to work his farm for half of the crop. About 2 months ago, while I was out in the field plowing, he came out there and said that my plow was running too deep. So here's the start of the problem. The person that he's working for, this slave owner says, okay, now you're working, but your plow is going too deep. That's you being on the job and them telling you, your numbers aren't up to par. This
performance is poor.
Your performance is poor, right? Your performance is poor on the job, right? He says, I told him that I guess not. He said, by God, I know that it is. So his slave owner is saying your performance is poor. And I'm telling him, nah, I'm doing my job.
If I may, sir.
Go ahead.
Technically, this ain't a slave owner because 2 months ago, slavery was abolished.
I'll call it. I don't know.
And he had to sign a contract. So he a contract employee.
Yeah, this is his boss.
This is boss.
Let me not use slave owner. I don't want to offend any of the Europeans.
Yeah, this is boss. This boss. Yes, sir, boss.
Right?
Yes, sir, boss.
So his boss says, God, I know that it is. It's too deep. And if I told him that it was not again, he would whip me. Wait a minute. Your performance is bad. And I'm telling him, nah, I'm doing my job, boss. And my boss told me if I tell him I'm doing a good job one more time, he's going to pull out the whip.
Think about this. You're out there doing your job, right? You know your numbers is good. You know everything right. Boss come out there, well, you ain't doing this. This ain't right. Shariwan, I see the seams in that drywall right there, and the plaster is leaking over there. And you're like, no, boss, that's perfect. That's squared up. You can't even see it. Watch when you throw the paint on it. It's like, no, all I can see it. And then he whip you. That's when you got to, before you call the general, call me. No, no, you don't.
No.
Hey, hold up. Oh, we got this. We're going to have this like, sir, we just going to take the check later. Like,
when you said that, I had such an anger build up inside of me.
I know.
outside the laughing, I really want to do something to somebody. You know what I mean? Like, you telling me if I tell you that I'm doing my job properly again, that I'm getting whipped? Come on, man. That's your abolish slavery?
But look what the next line said. You didn't read the next line, sir. Look what he said
Oh,
happened.
I know. I'm gonna get to it. Sluggy.
Oh.
He says, I told him that I could not help it. What do you want me to do? He's telling you, I'm doing my job. What do you want me to do? He says, at that, he got a stick and beat me over the head.
He didn't say hit him. He said beat him. You understand? A hit is one. He hit me over the head with a stick. Bam. He beat him.
While having a knife in his hand.
At the same time.
So it's not just getting beat over the head and what are you going to say? Why didn't you fight back? No, his boss had a knife, had a blade in his hand as he started beating him. He's threatening the man. He's threatening to unalive this man. He's threatening to stab this man as he's beating him because your performance isn't up to par. He goes, yesterday, July 17th, I told him that if he did not make his children stop telling lies on me and my men, I would whip them. So now, this man who's, I guess, complaining about his situation to his children or to somebody, saying, my boss is beating me. My boss is threatening my life because my plow's going too deep. Now his boss comes up to him and says, if you tell somebody one more lie on me, I'm going to whip you.
Think about this, sir. You go to HR. Let them know, like, look, this thing,
Right.
that other thing going wrong. You know, these conditions ain't right. Right? You know what they tell you?
Okay.
If you ain't got a problem with it, get another job. That's what's going on here.
Yeah. He says, at that he said me arrested. Sluggy. At that he had me arrested for threatening to kill his children. So his boss went and told the police. That's that Karen in the park, you know, who doesn't like you watching birds. Calls the police and lies on your black ass. And he said he called the police and said that my employer, not slave, let me not use slave. My employee is lying, you know, telling lies that I'm whipping them and threatening them.
And beating them over the head with a stick.
And because of that, he got this man arrested. Now, what happens when you're arrested again, Aubon?
Oh, we go back. Now, since you've been convicted of a crime, you could be a slave again, according to the 13th Amendment.
There you go.
So if you want to be a slave, get convicted of a crime, and Donald Trump he'll make sure you get that. He's gonna make sure.
Yeah. So, and I love that you gave the timeline of Aubon because this man was free for 4 months.
8 weeks. He ain't even got his 90 days. You know, you got to get your 90 days in the job, right? Man. He ain't even got his 90 days in.
8 weeks.
8 weeks.
That's slavery being abolished? Let me finish this up. He says, and made me pay $16 and my wagon for bail to appear next Saturday, July 21st, 1866 for trial. at the Raleigh courthouse, he told me that I had better leave this state if I knew what was good for myself. I told him that I would leave his place if he would pay me for what I had done. He said he would not do it.
No, that was the plan the whole time. That was the plan not to pay him the whole time, because if you go back to the beginning, if he'd have worked the whole contract out, he'd have had to give him half the crops.
Okay.
He didn't want to give him none. So what he did was, okay, you know what that reminded me of, sir? Remember, you got this ice going on, right? And this guy had these Hispanic brothers doing work on the roof. Damn devil had the Hispanic brothers doing the work on the roofs. And the day he was supposed to pay him, he called ICE.
Oh, Con, yeah, I remember.
So he had to pay him. So the plan was not to pay him in the first place. He called ICE. ICE come and pick these cats up, right? And you know, I don't know what happened to them after that, but they were arrested by the ICE agents. And now you just got this roof done, and you're supposed to pay these guys, and you getting them arrested. The devil is he will come up with the most despicable plans to set you up, black man, Native American man, Hispanic man.
Okay.
He come up with the most despicable, wicked plans, and that's what he good at. He was blessed with the sword, so he came out the caves. He came out the caves, the Caucasus Mountains, killing. Yeah. All right, sir. Let me wind back down.
Yeah, no, so like I got Captain Shock's voices in my head, you know, praying that Christ comes back and bathes the blood with Babylon. You know what I mean? Bathes the streets of Babylon in our oppressor's blood, because that would be such a righteous thing.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
No, there's nothing. We got some people. We got some more people checking in, sir. You wanna?
Yeah, I'll grab it. We got I don't think I shouted out. Well, let me go right back up. Maria, Tawanda Williams, King Denny. That's a young man, Dennis. But we got Aisha Banath, Nisha Jackson, and we got Maria. All right.
Yeah.
Yao Shemala thought about Shemala Shai. Shout out to the young man, King Denny.
He in Greenville? That's about 250 miles from where I'm at right now.
Okay, yeah, he is Greenville, South Carolina. Yep. The water for tuning in. So, you want me to get back in this video? Or?
Yeah, let's get back at it.
All right.
Be auctioned off to someone who would pay the fine, and then they'd have to work off the fine for that person.
Wait, pause that, sir. He said you will be auctioned off to someone who would pay the fines.
Right.
Because you wasn't a slave no more. You get sold, you still get sold. So they changed the words from you being sold to now you're auctioned. Right? So I bet you the auction and the slave, it was called a slave auction, wasn't it?
I mean, apparently I can't say slave masters. So you getting auctioned off to another boss. I don't know.
Sold to, let me see, how see the
sold to another company? What's the word?
Good. Right? So you're not sold into slavery. You are sold into contract work.
You went from Ford to McDonald's. I don't know.
Look at this. So look how you spend it, right? That's like, so since I'm not performing well at Ford, Chrysler buy me.
That's it. and Chrysler has to pay that fine.
And then I got to work off my stuff, the fine that I accumulated, because you know they add interest with it.
Yeah, you had a contract with Ford that you didn't finish, and Chevy's gonna have to pay off that contract.
Man, that's crazy. That's crazy.
That does not sound like freedom to me.
It doesn't. I'm not getting freedom out of this at all. Because if I sell, like, I've sold a car before, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when I sold the car, the new car owner was able to do whatever they wanted to do with that car. I couldn't say nothing like, man, you shouldn't drive the car like that. No, drive it how is his car now.
Mm-hmm.
So if you sell an employee, think about this. You can't sell an employee. You can't sell an employee. You can sell a slave.
Yeah.
But they wasn't slaves.
No.
According to the 13th Amendment.
And I don't know. It's not like you can say, I'm not going to let you sell me the Chevy because if you don't work, you now a criminal.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Slovakia.
Look at all this cotton this young man sitting on in his video.
Yeah, shoot. For time's sake, I hope we get to that because, you know, we talking about slavery being abolished, but for some reason we still got 10-year-olds picking cotton.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'm gonna keep going.
What's even worse than being arrested if you don't have a job is having your children taken away. So your neighbor down the road can go to the courts and say, John Jones, he can't take care of his children. He's indigent, but I'll take them in. And I will train them in farming methods, or I'll train the daughters in housewifery. And I will have their labor, and the parents will get a little bit of money at the end of their period of indenture. But Black parents didn't have a say in this.
A lot of parents are fighting back and saying, no, they don't want their children to be apprenticed. They can take care of them. They also know that in apprenticeship conditions, they can't protect their children from physical and sexual abuse.
Yeah, I gotta pause that because I didn't watch this whole video, Habuan, but I'm glad they they got into this because this is exactly what I was saying.
Mm-hmm.
Slavery is supposedly abolished, but you're 6 or 7 years old, Habuan. It's time for you to take on an apprenticeship.
Mm-hmm. And what happened during that apprenticeship? You get, how can you say this? Trafficked. You get trafficked. Trafficking.
Yeah.
Sex trafficking. Yeah. So think about this. What they doing. You cannot protect your children, right? And this goes back to Deuteronomy 28. Matter of fact, I was gonna pull up Obadiah 1 and 10, but that go back to Deuteronomy 28. Because think about this. They take your children away and there's nothing you can do about it.
Nothing you can do about it. Your child, because of these vagrancy laws, they have to work. I don't ever want to hear, a European speak about China or Asia or Nike having some kind of child, what do they call it? Child labor laws or whatever. Because they're doing it right here.
Let me pull the scripture, sir, if you don't mind.
Yeah, go ahead.
This is Deuteronomy 28 and 41. Thou shalt begat sons and daughters, but thou shalt not enjoy them, for they shall go into captivity. Is that not what happened right here?
Captivity. You're a Black man who has some kind of illness or ailment. And these devils are going to go and say that you're incapable of teaching or training your child to work. Therefore, we're going to take your child from you because it's illegal not to work. There is
So
no might in your hand to do anything.
you can't have nothing.
Yes. But we're free, Ahabuan.
So
Slavery
if you're
was
free,
abolished.
if I'm free, how my sons and daughters going into captivity? Oh yeah, and Maria just said the name of that movie was Undercover Brother.
Oh, there you go. That's I was gonna look that up. Undercover Brother. That
was funny.
That she devil is something. Oh,
I just remember them asking about him when he came back with the sweater tied around his neck.
Yeah. Oh man.
Oh man. I will pull that skit up, but he might get banned for that one.
God damn. This right here though, this is diabolical. This is absolutely diabolical. Could you imagine like the fear and the torment you would have as a parent, knowing that your child is going to some other European's plantation? We don't want to call it a plantation because it's not a plantation anymore.
Oh yeah, you're right, because we free. We free. Job site.
Job site. Yeah, that's job site where you get sexually abused.
You know what that sounds like to me?
Man.
Epstein Island.
Yeah. That is a real life horror story.
DJ Trump house.
But that's I guess we're free now though. So what did they tell my son? They told my son slavery. We freed you out of slavery.
The white man freed you from slavery. I need all Uncle Ruckus skits come up right there, like.
They should have showed my son a video of what freedom looked like. What they did for us. That would be some real education. Again, this is why I tell everybody, you gotta get in these history classes. Because you leave it to the devil to educate your children on history, you're never gonna learn about this.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna keep going.
Why would you, Israel, why would you allow another nation to teach your children about the things their nation did to you?
Yeah.
Can't allow that. You gotta go get your son. Like, look, sit down in class. Let me show you something. Yep. It was your oldest son?
Yeah, that's my oldest.
How old is he now?
Fourth grade.
Fourth grade. Yeah. You know what? He showed extreme discipline. Because if he'd have been like, that was bullshit, Dad, I'd have been like, can't really say nothing. He's right. Was this a white teacher?
Yeah, it was a white teacher.
Man, you know what she doing? She grooming him.
Okay. Yep.
So he could be one of the good ones.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right, back to the video. On this.
It becomes a way for the planter class to continue stealing the labor of the children and sometimes stealing the children themselves.
Enforcement of the Black Codes went hand in hand with relentless violence against the freed people.
Outside of cities and towns, the Union Army was shrinking rather than expanding. You're looking at former slaveholders who can't imagine living in a world where slavery doesn't exist if the Union Army is not on the ground and the Freedmen's Bureau is not there to enforce the new rules. then they were going to do whatever they could to keep the African American population in a state of subordination.
And I want to, jump on one thing he said there is they'll tell you that slavery was abolished, but do they tell you that every slave owner didn't know what they were going to do? Did they tell you that they had to come up with ways to keep their businesses running? They don't teach you that in history.
The Ku Klux Klan is created in Tennessee in 1866.
The KKK themselves was created in 1866.
Wait, what month? You can't even get a year out of slavery.
Good night.
Coincides with the creation of black codes. You could argue that on some levels that the Klan is doing the same thing that the slave patrols did.
Pause.
During slavery, the slave.
Sir, remember, you brought the black codes back up. We wrestle not, the scripture said we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but principalities from among high. Right? The KKK is just enforcing those principalities.
That's right.
Right? Yes, it's in benefit to them. Right? You know why? Because they don't want. I tell people this. I remember it was a comedian that said this. He say, white folk don't want you in a neighborhood. He said, but when they owned your ass, they wanted you in their house. So the only reason why they don't want you in your neighborhood no more, because they don't own you. Our problem is not that slavery has been abolished. It's just that they don't have this man right here don't have direct ownership of me no more. His family don't have direct ownership of me no more. So now the corporations own us.
If I could read something really quick.
Please.
I was just looking it up as I was, listening to this. It says, this is just a quick AI overview. It says the KKK still exists in fragmented small groups, with recent activity including white supremacist rallies in 2016 and 2017. A notable authorized KKK march occurred on July 8th, 2017 in Charlottesville, Virginia, protesting the removal of a Confederate statue, which resulted in clashes with counter-demonstrators. In 2017 rally, around 50 KKK members marched in Charlottesville, Virginia. 2016 parade, the KKK held a victory parade in Roxborough, North Carolina, following the 2016 presidential election. Last one, the KKK has splintered into many smaller competing groups, with some factions dissolving and others forming as of 2024, often collaborating with other white supremacist organizations.
You know what these organizations are called, sir?
Go ahead.
The sheriffs.
Yeah.
State police officers. Local police. You notice that people say, you hear people like, fuck the police. They don't ever say, fuck the fire department.
Right.
Ambulance driver, EMS. None of that. It's just the police.
Now, these KKK, they're here to enforce, to make sure that you're still, working as a slave. And it's surreal, I'm not sure the word to use, to think that KKK still exists to this day.
The Black Panthers don't.
Right?
Not in the same fashion that they were when they started, but the KKK does.
I did a class maybe 3-4 years ago, Habawan, because you know I find Canadian history very entertaining.
Yes.
Like, did you know that basically in the words of some of the articles I brought out, they say the KKK, died in America and grew inside Canada. And it's
No, I
like,
didn't know that.
yeah, in
Oh, it's told us to run
Canada,
to the north.
yeah, they all came to the north.
But look, that's what they told us, to run to the north. Like, if you want freedom, you gotta go north.
Look, the KKK is on the FBI's radar inside Canada because they know this is where they live. And what I guess what the government agencies discovered is that they're not going to a convention to rally somewhere in the South.
Mm-mm.
They're just on an online chat room.
You're online.
That's it.
Look, I was walking. I've been down here in Somerville almost 7 weeks, right? And I was walking, trying to get some exercise on, get some of this fat off my back. I'm about to come up there like I done did 90 days. No. But I was walking, and all you hear is, if you don't support the Aryan Nation. And I was like, hold up. Walked right back to my apartment,
Right.
got the Roscoe Bico train, and went back on my jog. Like, you got to go get the pew pew, and just in case he wants to get out of line with him and his fellow brethren. I have a way to negotiate with them.
Yep. Yeah.
But now when I go on my jogs, I don't go by myself.
Most high in Christ, as you shouldn't. What does General Muhammad say? I forget there was a word he used. But we're in a time where we really have to be paying attention.
Mm-hmm.
Really have to be watching our surroundings and everything going on, because this isn't a safe place for Blacks, Hispanics, and Indigenous.
Never was.
It's not a safe time to just to let your guard down and think that nothing could happen to you. Like what was that last year? A couple months ago, they had that man that they found lynched, hanging off a bridge. I think it was Alabama.
There's been a couple of them. They found the young boy at that school.
Yep.
The young brother that was at that school, they found him hanging from a tree. Now, y'all got to understand this. Black people don't usually commit suicide by tying a rope around their neck and jumping off a damn bridge.
Yeah,
we're not good at tying a bunch of knots. But I do know people who's great at tying knots.
That's crazy. I gotta look back in to see, if they ever did come to a final conclusion as to how they believe he died.
What about the sister that had been looking for her son for a while? They found him in an unmarked grave behind a police station in Mississippi.
Yep.
Right? And it's rumored that the police hit him with the car.
Yep.
And why is he in an unmarked grave when he got ID in his pocket?
Mm-hmm.
So that means he never went to the coroner, never went to the morgue. He was put straight in the hole.
Shoot, they had there's a Captain Kahan was bringing this out. There was that prison somewhere down south where all those inmates were just being buried underground at the prison. You know what I mean? And family members, they kept, asking the prison to come, look for their uncle, to come visit their uncle, or whatever it may be. And after a while, they started seeing, wait a minute, how come this prison's never letting us, visit our cousin or visit our uncle? And after so much time, they found out that they were dead and nobody was notified.
Nobody was notified.
You know what I mean? How many
Well,
hundreds of bodies just buried there underground?
I bet you it wasn't all the prisoners. It was just the black and brown ones.
God. Slakia. Let me keep going on the video.
Yes, sir.
Patrols would make sure people have passes, making sure that they are not loitering. They're not getting together in bands of people. And the Klan is going to do the same type of thing.
You have people who are targeted because they've managed to acquire a decent amount of land, or their children are in school and a white person in their community is struggling at the same time. What they decide is that the way to deal with this is to attack the person, to take away everything they have, to destroy their property, to run them off their land.
Pause that, please, sir.
Yep.
So what you have to understand that majority, I think it's like close to 85% of the people that were lynched during those times were business and landowners.
That's right.
Right? They were business and landowners. So that means they owned the land, they owned businesses. They were following the American dream, right? But the American dream to a black man, Native American man, Hispanic man is a nightmare, right? Our dream is for Christ to return and get a little vengeance for us. You know, whatever he deemed fair. Whatever he deems fair, right? That's our dream. That's our, you know, that's why we want you, black man, Native American man, Hispanic man. You bring your wives, your kids, your children, your whole family right here into the ISUPK. Let's get these numbers up, right? Hey, make sure y'all like and share and subscribe. Make sure you do that before we get out of here. Not saying we leave it now, but I wanted to remind you. What our dream is for our king to return, and you know, and then lead a great nation. And lead a great nation. Right? You know, you may have to step over some bodies in the street, but I guess.
Yep. You know, and I'm curious, you know, to any European watching who, you know, they'll probably look at this and say, okay, you know what? Slavery was abolished in 65, but it doesn't mean that conditions for black people immediately got better. You know, it took a little time for it to get better for blacks in America. I would love for somebody to tell me the date that it got better.
Let me tell you what they're going to say.
Go ahead.
They're going to say 60 years after slavery, black people built the largest bank in America and the second largest bank in the world. You know what I'm talking about?
Yep.
Tulsa, Oklahoma, Black Wall Street, right? You know why? Because them Edomites left them children of Israel the hell alone for too long.
Yeah.
And they said, if they can do this in 60 years, what can they do in 100? And then they bombed Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Yeah. That's why I'm saying I don't know what they're going to do with this Ahaba one. I really want to be educated on what year it got better. Was Tulsa, Oklahoma, you know, flourishing? Was that the year that it changed for black people?
Well, you know, you had a little land called Seneca Village.
Was it Seneca Village? Somebody give me a date and a timeline. I want to know when this horror story was over.
You had a little land called Seneca Village. And in Seneca Village, what ended up happening is black people were allowed to vote, you know, because they owned houses. You couldn't vote unless you owned a house in the city of New York. I mean, the state of New York. And it was too many black folk owning houses over there. So the oppressor said, you know what? How do we get rid of these niggas from voting?
God.
They came up with a statement, and this statement read eminent domain. They took these people's property and turned it into Central Park. Right? I can't remember. It was a little piece of property in some of these southern states, and I can't remember which one it is, but it was black people there striving, and the oppressor said, "You know what? We can't get them to move. Flood it, flooded them all out, and now they call it Lake Lanier." They call it Lake Lanier, and then you got some of these well-off oppressors. They get out there, and they get on their little ski-doos and they boats and things like that. And occasionally, the Lord will allow us to see something great. One of them fall in that damn water and they can't get out.
Good night.
Like, okay, go ahead, learn how to breathe, fish. But these are the things that, that even though slavery was abolished, the privilege behind slavery never went away.
Yep.
It never went away.
I think I'm gonna, what next class we're gonna have to do? Slacky, remind me if I forget. Next class we should do a class on some of these black cities that we built up.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna bring from the Canadian side.
Oh, that'd be sweet.
Yeah. Yep. Because Salakia. Because a lot of people, they have the belief. You ask a black Canadian about their history, they're gonna tell you, well, Canada was a place that black people came to be free. This was the end of the Underground Railroad. Well, they came here, and we'll talk about the cities that they built up. Yeah, I mean, that'll be a good class.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Look, we almost through the video, sir.
Yeah, let's finish up this video. There's something I want to bring out.
There's a couple articles too I want to hit if we got time.
Okay.
At war's end, Frederick Douglass had wondered what new form slavery might take. After 6 months of Andrew Johnson's Reconstruction, the answer was painfully obvious.
That's it on that. Let me share an article. I'm just gonna read maybe 2 or 3 things out of this black code because, just for informative purposes, this black code goes a lot earlier than 1866. So I just want to touch on a little of that, and then Ahabawan will get into your article.
Yes, sir.
Let me see if I have this pulled up. Yeah, so this is let me share my screen on this one. And I'll try to be very brief on this because we're getting near the time. So this is a book. It's written in French. That's why a lot of people may not know about it. Shout out to Barack Yala out in Montreal.
Barack Yala speak French?
Yeah, they speak French. Yeah, there's a lot of French colonies in the Caribbean islands. Just like it was in North and South Central America, they called it New France. You know what I mean? So
I took a cruise to the Caribbean island one year, and it was brothers and sisters down there that spoke 10 languages.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, I thought it was amazing. Like, I'm struggling with English.
Yep. Yeah, you had Europeans fighting over power over here, fighting different European nations for power. You know what I mean? So there's a Spanish side, there's a French side, there's an English side. And so these are going back to what is it? 1685. Okay, in 1685, the French had a black code on how to deal with us. And this is where places in the South, like Florida, Virginia, you know what I mean, Tennessee, they got this black code and these ideas from here. And it's basically just laws and codes on how to deal with black people. All right. So this is the black code. That was a collection of edicts, declarations, and decrees concerning the Negro slaves of America. The Code Noir, which means black code, regulated the institution of slavery and the rights of all black subjects, whether free or enslaved, within the French Empire. First issued as an edict under King Louis XIV in 1685. The Black Code was enforced by French authorities in the Louisiana Territory as the nation expanded its land holdings in what would later become the United States. Okay? And so this is the Black Codes from the French side.
Well, you understand that Detroit is a French word.
Yep.
Detroit is a French word. So it's enunciated Detroit.
Yep.
So the French had their command. You know, that's why you had the French-American War, right?
Yeah.
So the French had their command of this, what we call territory,
Yep.
right? Before it became the United States of America.
Yep. For if anybody wants to look up, just look up a map of New France. If you type in on Google New France, you'll see where the English had power over and where the French had power over. And you'll see that, you know, it wasn't Canada and United States. It was, you know, divided in New France and the British. You know what I mean? And you'll see the different states or places on the map that was owned by either the British colonies or the French colonies. All right. And so I want to jump down just to, you know, some of the codes that they had for us, just to see how the French dealt with us.
Yeah, let's do that. Because I was going to bring out some of that too, but if you're going to bring it out, we can keep going.
Yeah, I'm going to try to get through just a couple, just to give people an idea of what these codes were, you know, what they look like. Let's see if there's any quick ones. Let's say Article 3, it says, we forbid any religion other than the Roman Catholic and Apostolic faith from being practiced in public. We desire that offenders be punished as rebels, disobedient of our orders. We forbid any gathering to that end, which we declare to be conventicle, illegal and seditious, and subject to the same punishment as would be applicable to the masters who permit it or accept it from their slaves. So this is a code basically saying you have to be Roman Catholic. And they had codes saying if you're a slave owner and not forcing Roman Catholicism on your slaves, you would be punished. Which is, you know, just one of the codes that I really think about.
If I may, sir.
Say, how the hell could you be a Christian today? Yeah, go ahead,
sir.
Yeah, go ahead.
Our Hispanic brothers and sisters dove right into that.
Yeah.
So this is the black code. They think the black code only affects the black man. No, Hispanic brother and sister. This is where you at right here. This is why you're a Roman Catholic today.
That's right.
Because of this black code.
Yep.
That's it, sir.
like and you got to understand that like this is a law. You know what I mean? This isn't just some religious belief that, what do they say in America, the freedom of religion, you can, be any religion you want to be.
Mm-hmm.
Well, in this code, if you're not Roman Catholic, you
Hey,
are
read
getting
number 4.
whipped and
You notice the articles on Roman numerals.
God. Yeah, what's 4 say? It says no persons assigned to positions of authority over Negroes shall be other than a member of the Roman Catholic and Apostolic faith. And the master who assigned these persons shall risk having said Negroes confiscated.
They're going to steal your slaves.
An arbitrary punishment levied against the persons who accepted said position of authority. It says, we forbid our subjects who belong to the so-called Reformed religion from causing any trouble or unforeseen difficulties for our other subjects, or even for their own slaves, in the free exercise of the Roman Catholic and Apostolic faith, at the risk of exemplary punishment. Like you have to be. I don't know if anybody could picture that. You know what I mean? And I hear Captain Zariak speak on this all the time, where it's like nowhere in the Bible did Christ tell his disciples, force them to be Catholic. You know what I mean? And like you had brought out earlier on the phone, Ahabawan, about the what was it? The Slack, I can't remember what it's called. The when they forced Catholicism on everybody.
The
Crusades. There you go.
The Christian Crusades or whatever it's called.
Yeah, the Crusades, where they went around, the Jesuits or whatever, forcing Catholicism on everybody. Like this is no different right here. You're forcing Catholicism on a whole nation of people. And if you're not practicing the religion, they say what? The risk of exemplary punishment.
Now, sir, if you read number 6, it help explain how Sunday became the so-called day of worship.
God. Yeah, it says, we enjoin all our subjects of whatever religion and social status they may be to observe Sundays and the holidays that are observed by our subjects of the Roman Catholic and Apostolic faith. We forbid them to work, nor make their slaves work on said days, from midnight until the following midnight. They shall neither cultivate the earth, manufacture sugar, nor perform any other work, at the risk of a fine and an arbitrary punishment against the masters, and of confiscation by our officers of as much sugar worked by the said slaves before being caught. And for anybody who doesn't know, the large part of slavery in the Caribbean islands, they were working in sugarcane fields. You know what I mean? Just as in America, they always speak on the cotton fields. That sugarcane field was the equivalent to picking cotton. It says, let's see if they had any punishment in here. Let me jump down.
What was the scripture in I think it's in Ezra, 2nd Ezra, right? It says that basically, they had to where it was talking to Ezra where they had to hide in order to continue to practice our culture and our faith. Right. And I'm trying to find that scripture. And then it was also say you was prevented to call yourself a Jew.
Right.
And if you go back to that article, that's a black code. Think about this. Yep. When people say this Bible is not written for you, it explains the Bible, the scripture, it would break down the black codes.
Yep. Let me read like the first sentence of each article, because what you said was it's written right here. In Article 11, it says, "We forbid priests from conducting weddings between slaves." Article 12 says, "Children born from marriages between slaves shall be slaves." It says, "We desire that if a male slave has married a free woman, their children, either male or female, shall be free, as is their mother, regardless of their father's condition of slavery." You know what I mean? That right there is a code of, destroying the family structure. What do they say in Leviticus? You know what I mean? To kill all the males, to unalive all the males, to cut them off from being a nation, to take away their power. That's what the French were doing.
83, Psalms 83.
Yep. You know what I mean? Because you're a man having children, that's the family tree, the family lineage continuing. And if you're a man and have a child, your child's going into slavery. It says, "We forbid slaves from carrying any offensive weapons or large sticks at the risk of being whipped and having the weapons confiscated." This is the one I wanted to get to that you were just speaking on. In 16, it says, "We also forbid slaves who belong to different masters from gathering, either during the day or at night, under the pretext of a wedding or other excuse, either at one of the master's houses or elsewhere, and especially not in major roads or isolated locations."
If you remember, in Detroit, they was shutting down when when people would have those block parties, and they were shutting down those block parties, talking about this is causing shootings and violence in Detroit. People get out to and guess what? They break those block parties up, and the shooting's still going.
Right.
You just had a shooting at a gas station. A lady lost 2 of her kids at the gas station.
Yep. Check this out. I'll end with this Article 16. It says, so if they're gathering in isolated locations, it says they shall risk corporal punishment that shall not be less than the whip and the fleur de lis, which is the lily flower they would brand on you with a hot iron. It says, and for frequent recidivists and in other aggravating circumstances, they may be punished with death. So you're gathering, if you're caught as a black man gathering at night or in an isolated location during the day, you know what I mean? What did we bring out before, Habawan, about the hidden churches? You know what I mean? You're caught under a bridge gathering somewhere. The penalty is death. You know what I mean?
Hey, sir.
Yeah, go ahead.
You got to hit the next 2. And this is why they want to keep you broke. This is how they keep you broke.
God, I'll keep going. Yeah. You let me know, because I want to get into your articles. So.
No, we can knock this out. This is gonna cover it.
God, no sweat. It says, so 18 says, we forbid slaves from selling sugarcane for whatever reason or occasion, even with the permission of their masters, at the risk of a whipping for the slaves and a fine of 10 pounds for the masters who gave them permission.
So look, your master send you out to go sell sugarcane, right? You slanging the sugarcane. You know, you out there, you got a little fat on the bags of sugar cane. You out there moving. You gonna get whipped. Your master, he just gonna get fined.
Right.
If you look at it, right, in today's society, think how crack cocaine is a much hard. You get a much harsher penalty for selling crack cocaine than you do for selling cocaine.
Right.
Right. So you know that the cocaine was a white man's drug, right?
Mm-hmm.
They put small amounts of cocaine in Coca-Cola.
Yep.
Right. And then another black code was that black men couldn't drink Coca-Cola because it had cocaine in it, and it made them. They assumed it made them over sexualized towards white women.
Yep.
So these are all black codes geared towards keeping you under the foot of your oppressor. Yep. That's all I had, sir. And then the one that's talking about forbid to sell, any type of commodities.
Yep. You know what came to mind when I was as you were breaking that down, I was thinking about, what do they call it? Those non-competition or non-compete agreements you sign.
Yeah.
When you get with a company.
Like, you gotta sign them non-compete, non-disclosure, the NDAs, the same,
same shit.
Like them purple cats, you got to sign NDAs.
Good night.
To learn the scriptures, you got to sign an NDA.
God damn.
So look, my real aunt is with one of them purple guys, and he was she gonna try to tell my real, like, hey, you can't cook on the Sabbath. And then my real was like, well, how you gonna eat? I was like, well, she said you can't cook on the Sabbath. Tell her she can't drive that damn car on the Sabbath either, because if it that car is a combustible engine, right?
Yeah.
Which it makes a fire.
Yeah.
And they in Michigan, and turn that damn heat off too Saturday. Turn that heat off.
Yep.
That furnace makes a fire.
Yeah, there's no understanding on the scriptures at all. And really, you just got to stop learning from white people.
That's what it is.
That's all it is. You wanted me to read the 19, right?
Yeah.
So 19 says, we also forbid slaves from selling any type of commodities, even fruit, vegetables, firewood, herbs for cooking, and animals, either at the market or at individual houses, without a letter or a known mark from their masters granting express permission. Slaves shall risk the confiscation of goods sold in this way, without their masters receiving restitution for the loss, and a fine of £6 shall be levied against the buyers.
They don't want you to make a dime. So after COVID, when they said that the workforce was dwindling, it wasn't the workforce that was dwindling. They wanted you to take your slave ass back to work. And you didn't want to do it because you had made a lot of entrepreneurship came out of COVID. I couldn't work. I was down there fishing and selling fish.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I could do this every day. I could do this every day. You know how many fish fries that I sponsored during the COVID? Like, come buy this fish, already filleted.
If I could read this one, it says, the slave who has struck his master in the face.
In the face.
Or has drawn blood, or has similarly struck, what's the word, Becky? Good night. Or has
Becky. Oh, that's Karen.
Yeah.
It's Karen, and then his daughter would be Becky.
Yeah, don't strike Karen, or his mistress, Salakia.
Mm-hmm.
So don't strike his wife, his mistress, or their children shall be punished by death.
Now, hold on, go back to that. It said, don't strike his wife or his mistress, right? So even the Catholic Church recognized a man having more than one woman. They put it in law. You can't hit him or the mistress.
Yeah, they had
the wife, the mistress, or the man.
They had laws for concubines. They would call them concubines. I remember reading on that.
Okay.
There's laws for the concubines, which really is just a man with multiple wives. They had laws on how to deal with them under Roman Catholicism.
But you know why they when they build up. When is this, sir? This is in 1685?
1685.
So these black codes were created in 1685, right?
Yep.
So they learned, like, hold on, we don't want the black man to get married. Think about it. You don't want the slave man to get married. Why? Because you build family. Right? Yeah. You get married, you build family, you build an empire. Now you teach your children to turn against the powers that be.
Yep.
So once you get your children to turn against the powers that be, now all of a sudden, we already know what we did to you, right? You're going to teach your children what we did to you. And now you're going to have your children against us. When we cultivated this environment so that you will fall down and depend on us. Can't sell. You can't buy nothing. You can't get into, look, you can't be in a group. That sounds like laws against black folk.
Mm-hmm.
You can't be in a group. What they used to say, you got 4 or 5 brothers hanging out on the corner. They up to something.
Yeah, always.
Know what it is that they got different owners.
Yep.
You can't, 4 or 5 brothers with different owners can't. One of them work for Chrysler, one of them work for GM, other one work for McDonald's. You know, you can't be y'all can't be congregating because you know what you might be plotting on? Your oppressor.
Yep.
Well, we got a couple minutes, sir. Let me, if you don't mind.
Yeah. Are you able to share your screen for what you got?
Yep. I should be able to. Let's see. Let's go to share screen. Let's go to here. I got that. Let's see. Is this one it? I think it's this one. Share. So this is what I got here, sir. Let me close this up later. Can you see my screen?
Yep.
All right, it says black codes. How much money at a time I got? All right, cool. Black codes were laws passed by Southern states in the aftermath of the Civil War that imposed strict regulations on the behavior and activities of your black ass. These codes often restricted the rights and freedoms of your black ass, including their ability to vote, own property, and enter into contracts. Right? But look, it restricted the rights for you to enter into contracts. But guess what contract it didn't restrict you? You get a contract with that oppressor or that devil, then guess what? That contract's law abiding. Say, what were black codes in 1865 and 1866? Black codes were laws enacted by the legislatures of the former Confederate former Confederate states in 1865 to 1866. The thing about I wanted to bring up about this, sir, is that the Confederacy lost the war.
Right.
So how could they laws still be pushed? Right. In response to the passage of the 13th Amendment, which abolished slavery, and we learned today that slavery hasn't been abolished. It was just the article out that Mississippi, it was the last state to abolish slavery, and they did it like 15, 20 months ago. The laws were intended to restrict the rights and freedoms of slaves who were free in the wake of the Civil War. Although black codes were short-lived, yeah, okay. You see what this article says, they were short-lived. I promise you, there's some black codes going on right now.
They're going on right now.
That's why they can run up in your house when they want to. No knock. what's that? The no knock code, no knock law, no knock raids.
Okay.
Although the black codes were short lived, yeah, in quotation marks, they were an example of Southern resistance to the emancipation and its aftermath in the years following the Civil War. These laws played a significant role in ending presidential Reconstruction and increasing federal involvement during Congressional Reconstruction, which was designed by radical Republicans who wanted to punish the South for the Civil War.
Okay.
So this is you get caught up between two white men pissed at each other.
Yep.
You caught up between two white men being upset with each other, and with them being upset with each other, now all of a sudden they got a problem with you.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I wanted to put out there real quick, sir. You know, it's just that we got our backs up against the wall right now, right? We got our backs up against the wall, and you know what happens when you can't trap certain animals in a corner. As you corner them, they launch out, they lash out. So that's what we're seeing in our black community is that, you know, our people are lashing out, but we're lashing out against our people. We're not lashing out against those who, and I'm not telling you to go out there and crack somebody's head and nothing like that. What I'm saying is that get you this understanding here in ISUPK under Command and General Yahoo. Right? Understand who you are, where you are, what you're here for. Right? So once you understand those things, then you take the next step by educating yourself, educating your children, educating your family, and bringing them in. Right?
Yeah.
And right, because what we're going to do is the scriptures tell us to join ourselves together. We are the nation that is not desired. Think about it. Who want a nigga, a spick, and a wetback together?
Yes. You know, funny you say that. When we were reading through the forced Roman Catholicism,
yes, sir,
on our people, you know, and you were bringing out how that's how our Hispanic brothers they love that white Jesus today.
Mm-hmm.
That was forced on them. It was also forced on Negroes.
Yes, it was.
It was also forced on indigenous people inside of those boarding schools, those residential schools. We all went through the same thing. You know what I mean? And to sit here in 2026 and be divided, like we letting our oppressor win.
Damn
we
right.
all went through the same thing, and we got to understand that. Wait a minute. Roman Catholicism was forced on Hispanics. It was forced on Negroes. It was forced on indigenous. Forced baptism, forced Christianity. All these things was forced on us. And we all have to get re-educated as a people.
Yes, we do.
I mean, when you were bringing out the scripture where we wrestle against principalities, you know, it had me thinking. When Mashah is always bringing out that verse, I know he loves, you know, that verse. What is that in Hosea? My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge.
4 and 6.
Yeah, it's like we don't have knowledge as a people. We stay destroyed.
Yeah, we reject knowledge. That's what the scriptures say. And since you reject knowledge, I will reject you. And that's paraphrasing what the Lord said to us.
Right. Yep. So imagine just rejecting coming to a UPK history class. You just come into a class to gain some knowledge. You know what I mean? You're not going to watch this class and, you know, somebody's going to do you harm. You go to school, you go to class to gain knowledge, and these classes are free. They are free for every Black, Hispanic, and indigenous man.
Free 99.
You know what I mean? You just find a ISUPK school near you, and you get some free education, you can start learning about what really happened to your people. You know what I mean? Start learning about what's going on with us today. Black Watch gonna come on, you know what I mean, about 5 minutes.
Oh, yeah, I'm about to get ready.
Yep, that is a news station for Blacks, Hispanics, and Indigenous. It's not Fox News ran by some European. This is a Black-owned, Black-run news station.
It ain't ran by the small hats.
And we got some flavor to us. You know what I mean? This is gonna be a entertaining, you know what I mean, 2 hours of news.
I try to keep the swag down, sir. I try to keep it down.
Yeah, man. But yeah, this class, Black Code, I'm glad a brother you know, brought this up to me because it's something I wanted to get into a bit. You know, we barely scratched the surface.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Shoot, I think I got another 3-4 articles here. Habuan sent me 6-7 articles on this. Like we got information. You know what I mean? We got lots of information to help educate our people.
Yes,
All right.
sir.
So with that, we're gonna end the class. Habuan, anything you want to touch on before we close out?
No, sir. Like, share, subscribe. Like me, share me, subscribe.
Damn right. Hit that like button, share. And with that, we say Shalom, Israel.
Shalom, Israel.
Hey, listen, brothers and sisters, man. If you like what you hear, hit the subscribe button, man. Subscribe to this channel. And also, please, go to isupk.com and pay your tithe. Drop me some cash so we can move around this planet like we need to, man, and do the things we need to do.
They're one West. They're one West. They're one West. They're